All right, guys, what's going on? Jacob, Miami Dolphins Syndicate. Got some more time here, and a very busy day for me to make a video, as the Dolphins have made another signing, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. We also added Ashton Davis, safety from the Jets, but going to focus more on Westbrook-Ikhine right now, formerly of the Tennessee Titans, around 500 yards last year on 32 catches. More importantly, 9 touchdowns, so he does have the ability to find the end zone. Donovan's literally calling me right now. He's going to have to get a call back at some point. Finds the end zone a lot, and also found it in a variety of ways last year for the Tennessee Titans. You look at his stat line, you'll see quite a few games in there where it was like 2 catches, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns or 1 touchdown. You can see him on the deep threat. You find him in the red zone was available, middle to intermediate range. He found his touchdowns. He found ways to score. He found ways to impact the game one way or another. I think he had like a touchdown in 7 straight weeks or something like that. If you're in a dynasty league, in a deeper dynasty league, you may have found yourself like me multiple times last year putting him in your lineup because he was a touchdown threat in the middle of the season. On a very bad Tennessee Titans offense with horrible quarterback play, he was sitting behind DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley. He was never the number 1 option. Rarely the number 2 option. Most of the times he was the number 3 option, which is what he will likely be in this Dolphins offense, the 3 or the 4, more likely the 4 in the passing game behind Jonnu Smith. This is very reminiscent for me last year of when we brought in Jonnu Smith. He adds something to this team that we currently do not have. Jonnu Smith brought an element to this offense as a tight end where you can really draw plays up for Jonnu Smith to be the number 1 option. He's going to give you ability with the ball in his hands. He's going to be positions you want, a more physical, taller position player other than Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, of course, who are undersized. And that's what we got this year from Jonnu Smith, a very effective player in all areas of the field, good hands, very active in the offense. And I expect something very similar from Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, only 27 years old, 6'2", about 210 pounds. He's lean, he's tall, he's got decent hands. In a game where I watched a little bit of highlights before making this video of him. He had a game last year against the Commanders, which he had a couple drops early on in the game, but still ended the game with 2 touchdowns. He's an impactful player. He fights for possession. He fights for space, and a bigger body option in the receiving game. Complement that with somebody who still can be quick, still finds other avenues to get open other than how he is a little bit taller than some wide receivers in this league. And it's just another option in this offense for Mike McDaniel. And so far, given what we've been forced to deal with, and part of that is his own fault, I think Chris Grier has done pretty well so far in free agency. We were never going to see splashy signings, and I'm in a way glad we haven't seen splashy signings because there is limited cap space and there is quite a few holes on this team that the Dolphins need to fix. If you bring in one flashy signing where you sign, insert player for a $12 million contract, there's not a whole lot left to go around. And as I mentioned, there are positions of need the Dolphins have to fix. If you did that splash signing, you're likely not getting 2 guards in the first day of free agency. You're likely not getting a wide receiver 3 here today. You're not getting a decent backup quarterback in Zach Wilson that we saw sign yesterday. We're probably going to bring in a running back, hopefully another offensive line piece, hopefully another secondary piece, maybe outside on the corners. There are positions of need that we need to fill. Now, we were looking for Joey Bosa yesterday. Obviously, that didn't happen. He signs with the 49ers, and quite frankly, I can't really blame him. He gets to go play with his brother in a really good organization, had a down year. He can be impactful for that team, and he likely would have cost us around the $10 million mark. He ultimately went for a little bit under that, if I'm not mistaken, but he would have cost a lot of money for a injury-prone edge rusher, a position on our defense in which we already have quite a few decent options if they're all healthy. Bringing it back to Westbrook-Ikhine, he adds something to this offense. He adds an element that we do not already have. Wide receiver 3 has been a really bad spot on this team for a long time now. Especially under Mike McDaniel, you look at the options that they have had beyond Tyreek Hill, beyond Jalen Waddle at the wide receiver position, and you've really been left wanting for more. Last year, end of the season, Malik Washington has a decent impact on this team, and he's somebody that is going to be able to continue to see an expanded role most likely this upcoming season for the Dolphins. He fits the same model as Waddle and Tyreek Hill, though, so he's not necessarily bringing a new element to the offense, whereas Westbrook-Ikhine, a little bit bigger, you can find him with some jump balls, you can find him in areas all over the field. He's a hard-working wide receiver that, despite the struggles of the Tennessee offense, he was a bright spot in the minds of a lot of Titans fans, which I've seen so far in response to us bringing him in. Disappointment from the Tennessee Titans fan base, who had a lot to be disappointed with last year with the players they had on the team, but one of them that they were not disappointed in was Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. He's going to add something to this offense. Another year in which the Dolphins, I think, make a small 2-year signing, which we can look back at this time next year as maybe one of the best signings that we had in the offseason. I think last year, Jonnu Smith was the best offseason signing that we had. Over 800 yards, game-winning touchdown against the Jets, found the end zone so many times. It was just such a lethal weapon for this Dolphins offense. Tua finally having a real tight end threat to go to, and now he has a bigger wide receiver. I almost said bigger body. He's not a bigger body. He is definitely on the thinner side, but he can go up there. He can find ways to get space. He's going to fight, and something that I think I may have mentioned briefly already once is I like the age of these guys that we're bringing in. Last year, so many 29, 30, 31, 32-year-olds, the Calais Campbells, which he was the lone one that really worked, but Jordan Poyer, Kendall Fuller, did not work. Last stops in the NFL, that's not what you want to be bringing in. You want to be bringing the guys that are ascending talents or are at their peak and are going to continue at their peak for a season or two. That's what Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is. Zach Wilson, hopefully he is going to continue to get better as a backup quarterback. The guard we brought in yesterday that is going to be a starter for us, hopefully he is going to continue to get better with age. They're not bringing in guys that are at the end of their careers that are just trying to be a 1 or 2 year stopgap guys. You're bringing them still on those 1 or 2 year deals. However, if it pans out, you can see them extended beyond. And I fully expect to see a Jonnu Smith extension this offseason. I do not want to go into next year with Jonnu Smith on the final year of his deal. That would be certainly another miss from Chris Grier if he's unable to do that. But Chris Grier, credit where credit's due. I've been very critical of him. I said that he should have been fired at the end of last season, and he obviously wasn't. He's still with the team, and with the limited funds, which partially is his own fault for setting the team up this way and not being able to go out and fill positions of need with better players, because there certainly were better players on the market than what we've brought in so far. However, with the money available, with the positions of need, the holes that we've had to address and we have addressed so far, I thought they've been fairly good signings. Obviously, the offseason is just the offseason, so this all needs to come to fruition, and there's still more signings to be had. And of course, then there's the draft, which is a whole other conversation that'll be coming up not too long from now. So a lot of moves still to be made for this team that's not fully put together. Ashtyn Davis, briefly mentioned him, but most importantly from this video, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, now a member of the Miami Dolphins. What do you think of this signing? What do you think he brings to this offense? What do you think of Chris Grier so far here in free agency and the work he has done to build this team up? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. We'll see y'all next time. Hopefully we see you again later today. Another video, another signing. Hopefully, if that's the case, we'll see you later. Have a great rest of your day. Go Dolphins.